Hey GlamFam, Linwood here, and today I am hopefully going to change the way you think about your hair using something that you probably wouldn't have expected. It's spaghetti. Who thought that I would use paschettis to teach you all about your weave? Anyway, so I'm going to be talking to you about your hair and how it ties in with this spaghetti. So if you're intrigued, stay tuned. If you're not intrigued, that's probably why your hair is busted. Stay tuned. Okay, anyway, so I got 3 different types of spaghetti. At first glance, they all look the same, but they are very much different. So I got spaghetti, okay? I got thin spaghetti, and I got angel hair pasta. Now, when you look at them, these are all the same type of thing. If I were to show you just a single noodle, you would probably tell me it's a spaghetti noodle. But I wanted to talk to you guys about your fabric of hair, how it ties in with the spaghetti, and what we can learn from the spaghetti so you can better take care of your hair and have a healthier head of hair that's growing longer, stronger, all that fun stuff. The first thing I'd like to draw your attention to, and the reason why I got 3 different kinds, is because each of them is going to represent a different type of hair. So today we're going to be talking about fine hair, medium hair, and coarse hair. Let's go ahead and break down what's what, and I'll explain to you why here momentarily. The spaghetti is going to represent coarse hair. If you'll notice, coarse hair, the spaghetti here, cooks in 11 minutes, okay? Then we're gonna go to the medium hair. This is thin spaghetti. If you notice, the thin spaghetti cooks in 9 minutes, okay? So this would be medium hair. And then we have angel hair pasta, which cooks in 5 minutes. So you can see there's a drastic difference if I'm looking at fine hair versus coarse hair. We've got 11 minutes or 5 minutes. So I cannot treat angel hair spaghetti the same way that I can treat standard spaghetti, because if I do, I'll overcook it, I'll burn it, it'll turn into mush, and that's just not a good look, and someone is busting in on my video. Wow, those are some very interesting slippers, thank you.
I know. And there's other slippers.
Zelina,
Yeah.
I'm filming, I need you to come close to the door, please. Okay, so I'm gonna pop these open, and that way you can see them side by side and kind of hopefully make some determinations. We'll see how much the camera can pick up. I'm gonna take out a single piece of pasta with each of these, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about how all hair is pasta in this instance, but not all pasta can be treated the same. Not saying that your pasta doesn't matter. Your pasta still matters, but because your pasta matters, you have to know how you can and cannot treat your pasta. Otherwise, you will be pastaless, or your pasta is gonna be jacked up and burnt. Okay, so I've got my 3 different strands of spaghetti, or strands of hair here. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna put them down here, and I'm gonna try to show y'all up close down here and explain a little bit about them, so that way you can better understand your fabric of hair. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see on camera here, but we've got our angel hair pasta here. We have our thin spaghetti here, and we have our standard spaghetti here. Now, the biggest difference is gonna be, let me take that thin spaghetti out. Look at the biggest difference between your your angel hair, or thin hair, not thin hair, your angel hair or fine hair, and your standard spaghetti or coarse hair. You can feel a massive difference in that hair in terms of rigidity, in terms of flexibility. I mean, just the level of tensile strength each of them has is totally different. So let me go ahead and take here, and just so that way I can kind of explain this a bit better to you, I'm gonna take each of these and kind of show you. So I'm gonna break off just a chip of the coarse hair here, the spaghetti, okay? So pretty good degree of strength there. We're gonna go to the standard, the thin spaghetti. Broke a bit easier. And then we're gonna go to the angel hair. This one broke with next to no effort whatsoever. Now, why is that important? That's important because your hair is gonna be the same way. Fine hair is incredibly prone to breakage, damage, things like that. It cannot take nearly as much abuse as a coarser fabric of hair. So when I'm looking at this hair, let me bring you up. That's really, y'all are like all in my mouth. Okay, so the reason why this is important is because if I'm dealing with fine hair and I'm doing it the way I would deal with coarse hair, I'm going to burn this hair up. I'm going to overprocess this hair. I'm going to fry this hair. I'm going to underestimate the degree of damage I can do to this hair. Now, just so you know, the difference between fine, medium, and coarse hair is just like the difference between these pastas. It's the diameter of the strand. When you hear fine and coarse, I don't want you to think silky and smooth versus rough and textured. That's not the same degree at all. So when we're talking about texture in the hair industry, and it's saying for fine hair, use this temperature to this temperature. That's not saying for straight hair. That's saying for hair that is thinner in diameter. My fine hair. That's saying that for hair that is thinner in diameter, you're going to use a lesser temperature because it's a lot easier for you to cook through. I want you to think of it like if you're looking at a steak, you don't have to leave a steak on a grill as long if it's a thin cut of steak because you're gonna easily overcook it. It's gonna be tough, it's gonna be rough, it's gonna be burnt. Whereas if you're getting a thicker piece of steak, you wanna go ahead and leave it on that grill a little bit longer, otherwise the inside is still gonna be raw. So a lot of times if you're using a temperature for fine hair on coarse hair, it doesn't really do anything. And if you're using a temperature for coarse hair on fine hair, it burns clean off. This is why you see so many of those hair mistakes that you have on there. Now, the way all hair ties into pasta is like this. All of these have a certain degree of protein and moisture balance. Now, you saw how easily this pasta broke when I just applied a little bit of pressure. So I want you to imagine if I gave you a bowl full of dry pasta and gave you a utensil to try to start spinning it around, it's gonna break and chip pretty easily. And much like how these broke off in these little bitty pieces, this is exactly how hair breaks. Hair breaks in these little pieces like this. So a lot of times if the hair is dry or if you have split ends, it's gonna be gradually breaking off from the ends. A lot of times it'll look like your hair is being plateaued. It's staying at the same length for the longest. It's not really getting any longer. It's been there for months. Well, the average head of hair grows about ½ an inch a month. So if you're noticing that your hair doesn't seem to be growing and it's still sitting at that same plateau point, there's a good chance that your hair is breaking off at the ends, which means either you have split ends or there's a good chance that your hair is dry and is rubbing against this fabric and is continually breaking due to that dryness. So how do we combat that? This is where you want to make sure you have a proper moisture balance in the hair and that you're taking proper care of the hair. When we are dealing with these different fabrics of hair, there are a few different things we have to keep in mind. All of them need moisture and all of them need protein. So when a strand is dry like this, it has no moisture, next to no moisture, and it's full of protein, it's very brittle, it's very easy to break, just like I broke these really easily. Now I want you to imagine if they had that perfect al dente cooked to them and I tried doing that same thing, it would not have easily broken. I would have had to apply a lot more pressure and abuse. The reason why is because the moisture gives that elasticity and that suppleness for you to be able to spin a fork around it and it still maintain its health and strength. You don't just need protein, you need protein and moisture. And usually it's much easier for moisture to dry out. So if you cook pasta and you leave it out uncovered, a lot of times it dries out really easily too. Whereas if I leave this out, it doesn't lose protein just from sitting out. It loses protein from things like being overcooked, but it doesn't lose protein just by sitting out and being taken care of. Your hair is very similar in that respect. So your hair is going to lose moisture a lot easier than it loses protein, especially if you have hair that has already been chemically treated, or if you have hair that is naturally curly and is more moisture deficient anyway, especially if you have a higher porosity level. So what that means is a lot of times I have to do more to enforce and instill that moisture into the hair. Now, how does this tie into your hair? This is going all over the place, is it? It's not. It's all leading to the same location. So when you're dealing with your hair and you're looking at these different strands or strains, whatever, of pasta, you want to think about it like this. If my hair does not have enough moisture, it's now a dry piece of pasta and it's chipping and breaking easily, right? If I have too much moisture, now it's stretchy and it tears, it's ripping, it's shredding, it tangles really easily because of the fact that it does not have enough protein. So this is where we want to keep that nice balance so we can stay in that al dente zone where we can spin a fork or take a comb, a brush, whatever through this hair or this pasta and still be able to keep some tensile strength so it can hold up. Now that does not change the fact that fine hair is still less strong than coarse hair. It cannot take as much abuse. I hope that that's making sense to you. When I look at that, I want to kind of keep that in mind. You also want to keep in mind that you don't cook spaghetti that already has sauce on it. I'm cooking spaghetti or putting heat to spaghetti, whatever the case may be, when that spaghetti is clean. I don't want to put sauce on there and then try to cook it or whatever the case may be. That's how you end up with buildup on your strands, and that can lead to breakage as well because the buildup prevents you from getting moisture inside of the strands. Now, if you're one of those people that uses heat a lot in your hair, I have an experiment here, and I'm hoping that it goes well so that way I can explain to you the differences in temperature and why that matters when you're dealing with your fabric of hair, because that's important as well. I brought a flat iron. I have this baby all the way up to 450 degrees. I'm waiting on it to warm the rest of the way up. So if you've been on my channel any amount of time, you know I'm not a fan of an iron or a heat source being on the hair at 450 degrees. And I've regularly said, you don't even bake cookies at that temperature. If you're a regular on this channel, you probably said that with me or finished my sentence. It's because you don't. Like, you don't need that much heat on your hair. And I want to use the spaghetti to kind of illustrate why that's so important, especially because so many people don't really understand the fabric of their hair. So while I'm waiting on that to finish heating up, I want to give you some of the attributes of these hairs so that way you can better understand and identify your fabric of hair. So if you have fine hair, your hair is going to be much more prone to breakage. It's going to be much more sensitive and delicate. It's going to be more prone to split ends. You're going to have trimming more frequently. Your hair is going to be more prone to flyaways, especially in the winter time. So you're going to see a lot more like little short sprigs on the hair, even if you're treating the hair well, because of the fact that this is a thin strand. It's so much more easy to break. Think about how effortlessly I broke that. I also want you to consider that the cook time on this was significantly less. The cook time on angel hair pasta is about 4 to 5 minutes. So if I'm looking at the fact that this cannot take as much heat, it can't take as much abuse, it cannot take as much product because it'll build up on there, things like that, and I can't brush through it as rough as I could standard spaghetti or coarse hair, I've got to take the same thing and keep that in mind as it pertains to your hair in general. So fine hair is going to be much more prone to breakage for all those reasons. So usually what you can do is take a thread, like a standard piece of sewing thread, and run your fingers down that thread. A standard piece of hair, a medium piece of hair, is going to be about the diameter of that thread. If your hair feels thicker, then it's likely in that coarse zone, or if it feels around there, maybe slightly thicker, it's likely in that coarse zone. If it feels significantly thinner than that thread, there's a good chance that your hair is fine. And in that instance, you want to be very careful about the amount of heat, regular manipulation, and abuse you put on that hair. My iron should be hot enough now, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into that a bit. But I want to go ahead and talk to you real quick about coarse hair, because coarse hair a lot of times is going to require heavier moisture. It's going to require more thick creams, more dense products, more viscous, thick products. This is because the hair, it's more weighted, it's thicker, and it needs more to kind of bring it together and weigh it down. This battery is dying. I'm going to change the battery out, and then I'm going to show you guys, well, we're going to do this experiment together, and hopefully it goes the way that I'm thinking that it will. Okay, so you're now over my shoulder instead of in front of me like you were before, but I want to go ahead and show you coarse again. We are at coarse, medium, and fine hair, and these are the pieces that I broke off earlier, so I haven't really moved anything, okay? So I've got my iron up to 450 degrees, so just so you can see that, I've got it all the way up to 50. That's as high as this iron goes. And I want to show you guys this. I'm hoping that it'll work as I'm intending. I'm going to try to hold this on here for 5 seconds for each of these strands, and that way I can try to show you what 450 degrees of hair, or what 450 degrees of heat does to each fabric of hair. So coarse hair, I'm going to go ahead and place this in here, and we're going to count together. So close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check that out. So notice how it weakened that piece of pasta. See how it lightened up? We've got some curvature there. 5 seconds, but I mean, we still have some hair left, okay? So we're doing okay. Let me go ahead and pick up this strand of medium. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you guys can see already that one's a bit more flimsy. Still same result there though. So we can kind of see very similar results there. Let's go ahead and go to this fine hair. Close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check that out. So we are basically like, it's in there, it's straight and all that, but I want you to look at the difference in how that hair was impacted versus these other two, and that was just with 5 seconds of 450 degree heat from this flat iron. Now notice, if I had left that on there, like let's say you're one of those where you're trying to curl your hair and you're placing that on there and you're waiting, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on here, I'm trying to do this and that, I'm talking, whatever the case may be, the whole time your hair is on that heat source, it is being burnt up and conditioned and all that. So you can see like this is gradually changing color. Let me see if it'll show you there. I don't know if you can see how it's browning and all that there. This is the reason why I'm always recommending against it. And if you'll notice, in that area where the heat was, notice how much thinner that strand is looking now. So of course, by continued abuse like that, by continued high heat sources on any fabric of hair, we are beginning to thin the hair out. Now, if you'll notice, you can tell a difference in the thickness of these strands as we go through. So this is my medium strand here. See if it'll focus there. You can see how it got a little bit thinner in there, okay? The coarse strand really did not thin out much in that area. So it was able to take the most abuse, the most heat. It still has some tensile strength in there. Not much, but some tensile strength in there in terms of being able to take that abuse. Let's check out this one in terms of tensile. Oh, that one has next to no tensile strength. So we already know this one here it's gone. And it's, notice with each of those, it broke automatically right at the line where we started taking it. But I also want you to notice how much thinner this strand got as we applied that heat to it. What does that mean? That means that I've got to select a lower temperature heat source for the hair. Regardless of what fabric of hair you have, 450 degrees of heat is just incredibly too high of a direct heat source to place on that fabric of hair. And that is how you end up with massive degrees of breakage, regardless of what your fabric of hair is. Because now I'm not only robbing it of moisture because I'm burning the hair up, but I'm also damaging the hair, so I'm losing protein at the same time, which means if I'm losing protein, I'm losing strength. And if I'm losing both strength and moisture, I go from losing these little pieces on the ends from just having dry hair to basically losing those strands altogether. All of that being said, I really hope that this experiment and that this explanation has helped you to understand your fabric of hair a bit more. If you have fine hair, you still need moisture and you're still going to need protein, but you're going to need moisture a bit differently. Opt for more lightweight and liquid moisturizers. Your hair will benefit from it a bit more. You will find that a lot of times you might need a moisturizing shampoo and like a volumizing conditioner. So that way we're able to moisturize the hair without weighing it down, especially if you have an oily scalp. If you have curly hair and it's more prone to losing moisture because you're higher porosity and you have fine hair, in that instance you may not be able to seal with a heavy oil, so seal with a lighter weight liquid oil or with a silicone instead. If you have coarse hair, you can more likely seal with a heavier oil, with a more viscous or thick product, with heavy creams, or with heavy moisturizing, rich moisturizing masks, things like that, without weighing the hair down. While yes, it can take more abuse, but I need you to understand here, if your hair is coarse, it can take more abuse, which means it more easily grows and retains length. Whereas if you have medium or fine hair, it's gonna be a lot less easy for you to retain and maintain as much length as easily. So yes, the genetics tie in with you being able to maintain length to a certain degree. To a massive degree, care is huge on there. So make sure that you are sleeping on satin, make sure that you're doing more low manipulation hairstyles, and make sure that you're limiting the amount of direct heat from flat iron, hot rollers, curling irons, things that are directly touching the hair. So when I say direct heat, that's what I'm talking about, versus like a blow dryer that's going to be blown on the hair but not touching the fabric of the hair is an indirect heat source, or sitting under a hooded dryer is an indirect heat source. Putting a flat iron, a curling iron, or hot rollers on the hair is all a direct source of heat that's touching the hair. That's much more prone to damaging your fabric of hair regardless of what fabric you have. So if this has been informative for you, please make sure to click the like button, share it with someone that you feel like could benefit from it, and I hope that this helped you to think differently about the way you deal with your fabric of hair. If you would like to learn more about things like texture, density, porosity, and how all of that ties in with your hair care regimen, please check out in the description box down below. You can download my free hair care guide. It's 6 pages of free content, complete with product recommendations. So if you're that person that's like, you showed me all of this spaghetti and I burnt it up and didn't even tell me what to use, I tell you in the hair care guide. Feel free to check that out. I hope that this has been super informative for you and that this channel is able to educate people in mass, because I am so over seeing people tearing their hair up because they just didn't know any better. Because once you know better, you can do better. Until next time, you guys, take care, God bless, and stay glam. And you know I love you, boo. Bye. I got some pasta to cook.